Welcome to the Aging Well Firefighter, the podcast for first responders, our families, and the communities we serve. Whether you're on the front lines or standing with us, I'm here to help you fight wisely and age bravely. If you've read my recent article on surviving the winter blues, you already know this season hits me hard. Lately, though, what I've noticed is more than a winter slump. It's that pull to always be on, to keep saying yes, to stay productive, to prove I can shoulder it all. As a firefighter and an EMT, there's real comfort in being the dependable one, the guy that others trust to show up when the tones drop. Most of us in this work are built that way, or at least we convince ourselves we are. But lately, even I've started noticing the early warning signs that my guest and I talk about today. The fatigue that's more than just tired, the irritability that sneaks in, the drive that turns from purpose to compulsion. And that's exactly why I wanted to have this conversation. My guest is Jessica Nowak, trauma survivor, life coach, and 25-year fitness veteran who runs Inferno Fitness and Resilience in Marinette, Wisconsin. Before founding her business, she worked 12-hour night shifts for a sheriff's department, all while juggling life as a single mom, which sometimes meant 70-hour stretches without any real sleep. She understands burnout and stress and the wiring that keeps high performers pushing long after that fuel light starts blinking. In this episode, Jessica and I dig into what really happens physically, hormonally, and emotionally when the daylight fades and the rhythm gets thrown off. You'll hear how she teaches clients, including first responders, to recognize early red flags of overload, to rewire through movement and mindset, and to see rest as readiness, not weakness. This episode runs a little longer than my usual episodes, but it's a needed conversation, honest and practical, and for me, a little bit convicting. So take a breath, grab something warm to drink, and listen in. You might just walk away seeing resilience and rest in a whole new light. Jessica, you are up in Marinette, Wisconsin. That's correct?
Yes, and it is insanely cold here today.
It's supposed to trickle down our way too. I was looking at the advanced forecast for tomorrow, and they were saying it's supposed to get into the negative 20s for wind chill while I'm on shift.
Oh, that's going to be rough.
No, I'm hoping that we don't have a fire that day.
Yeah, and isn't that the knock on wood type thing? It's supposed to be negative 35 here tomorrow.
Oh boy. Wow.
But so negative 20 doesn't sound any better.
Yeah, so much for lake effect, right? Once you get down to a certain temperature, it all feels the same.
Yeah, I had somebody visit me from Alabama a few years ago, and he wanted to come in the dead of winter to experience it. And I kept telling him, I'm like, dude, okay. And so he comes and he's like, this isn't bad. This isn't bad. Why do people complain about it? And then we go around this corner where the wind, and he ran. He's like, get me out of here. Absolutely not. And I was like, that's what they're talking about. That right there, that wind chill.
Well, I visited Marinette, and that's how we originally connected, because when I was up there for like a 4 or 5 day FEMA class, I got a short-term membership at your gym, which I really enjoyed. I loved your space. And you call it Inferno Fitness and Resilience, which almost sounds like it could be a firehouse gym. What's the story behind that name? How'd you come up with that?
So Inferno Fitness originally started as just me, my personal training business.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't going to ever be a brick and mortar. That's what it turned into. As far as the name where Inferno came from, it's definitely it's very personal to my heart where that came from. with my history and where I came from, there was a lot of things that needed to be purged to heal 100%. There's a couple dynamics that go into the burning of, you could say burning of the sludge, burning of the chains that hold us down. And always was somebody that used exercise and training to just keep me grounded and keep me healthy. And that's honestly something that I leaned on as a child to get me through my childhood. I found that I really liked that endorphin high that I got from it, but it really kept me. It was the only thing I kind of really actually had control of in my situation.
Mhm.
So as an adult or young adult, because I opened that facility, I was pretty young. There was just something with the fire side of me that I knew I needed that as a part of our life. If we want to really heal from some of our stuff, it's gonna have to be burned and purged, all of it.
Yeah.
And where do we go to do that a lot? For me, it was exercise. For me, it was in the gym, it was throwing weights, it was taking care of myself. So, and a lot was released in the gym. I wasn't somebody that could talk to anybody about my stuff. It's pretty bad. So, it wasn't something I was going to openly communicate to with people. It was just me and myself dealing with my own demons. And the gym was a really big avenue for me to release that.
It can be very cathartic. Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of people that now, like, because I do work with a lot of trauma people, people that have experienced trauma, people who have CPTSD, PTSD, they won't talk about their stuff, but I know it's there. I can feel it. There's been a lot of times throughout my career, and it's one of the most beautiful things is they will just in the middle of a very intense workout just break. They just stop.
Mhm.
And it just all comes out. There's the tears, and that's where I can finally work with them and what is
Yeah.
actually rooted deep down. So that's where Inferno came from. The resilience is my resilience online programming. And I look at that as in my own growth and my own journey, I can speak. I'm still not there. To me, it's growing every day, but the resilient side, I can actually start stepping into more. So
Okay.
that was like the second stage. I spent the first X amount of years in the brick and mortar, in the grind, and now I'm just stepping into this other chapter. And I was like, resilience, it has to be resilience. That has to be the name of this side of the business.
And now you've been working with clients for more than 25 years.
Yeah. I'm so old. Yes.
How has your
Yes.
definition of resilience evolved over that time working with people?
It's still growing. I'm still, like I said, I'm still stepping into it. Going from surviving every day and then stepping into my own strength and my own resilience and I'm still growing into it. And it feels empowering and it feels good and it feels scary and it feels like all the things. I don't know if that helps answer that question.
It
It's
actually
a
does. Yeah, it
a
does.
little vague, but like it's something I'm growing into. And I just coming from I didn't want to be a survivor every day.
Mhm.
I wanted to be able to step into my own power, and you can't do that until you're fully healed.
Right.
Otherwise, people may look at me and be like, "You're so resilient. I didn't feel it. I wasn't owning it myself." So that's a whole different thing when you actually step into it yourself. And like I said, it's a beautiful thing.
When we were chatting offline before I kicked the recording in, you mentioned that you had written an article about winter depression and
Mhm.
a side of it that people don't typically think about.
Yes.
In your experience as a coach and a trainer, how do these shorter days, periods of less sunlight, the bitter cold that we talked about setting in,
Mhm.
how does that physically and hormonally affect people as far as energy levels and mood and things like that?
That's a big question. So let's break it down. Like some of the things that I pick up from people and even myself. So I'll just use myself as an example. I might start becoming a little bit more numb, less
Mhm.
joy, more irritable, I'll say, and definitely like more of lack of desire to connect emotionally with others. Those are some of the big ones that I'll pick up from other people or myself when I notice that, okay, something's going on. I'm having a little bit of like low energy or I feel disconnected from the things that I would normally feel very grounded in.
Yeah.
So being able to be self-aware of that is huge. And when I'm working with new clients or really just people in general, because sometimes the most self-aware people can lack their own self-awareness at times.
Right.
Guilty, all like so guilty.
Same.
But unless we're actually being proactive and taking the steps to take a step back and say, okay, where am I at mentally, emotionally, physically? Sometimes we might not notice those things going on. But as a coach, I can kind of like grab somebody by the back of the neck and scruff them up a little bit. Like, hey, how you doing? Like, really, how are you doing?
You mentioned self-awareness, and I think self-awareness is really important in noticing that you're slipping into those old patterns. But what are some early warning signs that people can watch out for them in themselves to notice that they're starting to do that before they realize it?
Honestly, I think just being proactive to self-check. I think that's the biggest thing that I work with my clients is teaching them how to self-check. And especially say like during the holidays season and the winter season right now, I want them self-checking with themselves sometimes numerous times a day. Like literally asking, where am I at? Am I grounded? Am I connected with my spouse? Am I present in my work? Am I, am I sleeping? What is actually going on instead of just going through day by day and pushing the envelope like we all do so
Yeah.
well.
And just trying to ride it out until spring comes again.
Yes. Yep. And I'm so good. I am a professional at, I'm just going to push the envelope, ride this out, and it'll be fine. It'll work itself
Yeah.
out.
I'm in the emergency services, and of course, we're famous for that, just focusing on other people and kind of taking the focus away from ourselves until
Right. Until it catches up with you. Those are some like I work with a lot of high performance people and they don't know how to even check in with themselves.
that's a great point. And I think a lot of first responders too don't know how to do those self
Yeah.
check-ins.
You guys are
How,
trained to be very self-sacrificial. And especially for the men who have a family, it's not only that it's foreign, it actually gives them anxiety. When I say we have to learn how to like self-care,
Mhm.
check up on ourselves, be present for ourselves, it actually gives them anxiety because all I did was give them another task to tend to.
How do you encourage your high performing clients to do those self check-ins to get past that anxiety, to get past that kind of foreign feeling of turning your attention inward rather than keeping it outward?
Yeah. Sadly, most of the men that come to me when it's life hasn't given them any other option. So we're more working on fixing instead of being preventative.
So
But
you're starting out as being reactive rather than
yeah, that's the sad part. But I do get, I'm working with somebody right now who caught it ahead of time. It is amazing, but it's extremely foreign to him. So it's small. What is that elephant saying? You have to bite the elephant one bite at a time,
oh, yeah.
whatever.
How do you eat an elephant one
Yeah.
bite at a time? Yes.
Yes. It's sometimes it's the very smallest, the tiniest thing to get them to just be a little aware of themselves and that they do have to start putting themselves on the table because if they don't, they cannot show up for the people that they care about.
Oh,
They're
that's
not
so
going to
true.
be able to.
That's so true.
They won't be able, their profession is going to lack. Their home environment is going to lack. They end up in a sense like self-sabotaging it. And they're not trying to. Their heart's in the right place. They're being self-sacrificial. But if they're not equipped to take care of those other things, it's all going to crumble. That's where men have they do have so much weight on their shoulders. They're our leaders. They're who we look for. And if they are not taking care of themselves, that oxygen mask never gets to the other, like it does not get to the other people. It's just
Yeah.
not going to.
Oh man, I get that.
Yeah.
So this time of year, when you're working with clients who maybe are struggling with that seasonal depression, how do your priorities as a coach shift as far as their training intensity, their sleep patterns, their mindset work?
For sure. This is extremely client dependent.
Okay.
1,000%, right? And I give myself, of course, the space and I let them know too that things can change. One week they might be training extra hard and then another week they might not. Honestly, like one of the men that I'm working with right now, it's just teaching him to even just do 10 minutes of walking outside, preferably in the sun, take advantage of it
Mhm.
3 times a week. And that's it, because that's where he is at. That's what he needs. Whereas I have somebody else where I'm just I'm drilling him. This guy is going through it right now, but it's what's needed. He needs to purge some of the stuff that's going on inside in order for me to get to the root issue for some other things. Okay, so it is I know that might be like a big answer or
No,
okay.
people might think that sounds vague, but having worked with clients myself, there's a reason we call it personal training. It's very individual. And
And I like knowing how my clients respond to things too. Usually some of these people have worked with me for years. So I know what's going on. I know that during this season they might have some family stuff, right? They have a passing of a father going on. So things are going to shift. I'm not going to put him through push sessions, but I also am staying in touch with him too. I'm going to go in the trenches with him and say, okay, what do we need to do? If you want to push right now, we're going to push. But that that piece right there that you're trying to avoid, we're going back there. Sometimes giving the man the choice of what, so he knows that he's going to have to face it.
yeah.
He can face it now or later. It's coming. And I'm right there with him. I'm in the trenches with him. But it's not going away. So every client is different. Like I said, that's somebody who I've worked with for a while and I can just be real with him like that and say, you can ignore it, but it's going to be there.
So you focus not only on the fitness side of things and kind of the mindset and life coaching side of things, but you also focus heavily on hormone health.
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of unpack what that means for the average listener who doesn't realize how hormones can influence our mood and our motivation and things like that?
Hormone health is so huge. One of the first things I do in even a consult is ask them if they're going to be open for labs and hormone testing. And people don't realize, even for me myself, I didn't realize when I was in my 20s, like how important it was. But I mean, if somebody's T is low, their testosterone is low, their energy is going to be low. They're going to be more susceptible to depression or depression-like symptoms, low energy, low mood, right? Their get up and go is just not going to be there. Their urgency to provide and protect is not going to be there. They're just going to be, and they might think everything's fine, but they're still not living optimally because just their testosterone levels alone are low. Cortisol levels, right? That's hormone based. So if somebody's cortisol levels are super high, their anxiety and irritability are going to be up. Same thing with the thyroid. Thyroid is linked to depression, estrogen, progesterone, all of those things as well for our females and males too. They need to be in check. And the one thing I even encourage my young 20-some-year-olds to get tested at their optimal peak because, Roy, like your optimal peak is going to be different than somebody else's optimal peak.
Mm.
And the pharmaceutical side of things and the insurance side of things are going to say, well, if you're in this realm, you're okay. But that's not Roy's optimal level. Roy actually really does very well off of an 800. And they're going to say, no, you're 400, so you're fine. But Roy doesn't actually feel very good. He's not at his optimal. Does that make sense? Where somebody else's optimal might be at 600, which is low to me. That's where I have people, I really encourage the young ones who are vibrant, healthy, hormones are a little bit more less damaged at the time to get a check for their own reference is nice to have.
What is a nutritional change that people can make to support better winter mental health?
Drink water.
Yeah.
Right? To be honest, and even I fall into this. I am very easily lower my water intake in the winter and have no idea why. And as soon as I have a couple of days of my nice gallon and a half, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel better. It's that low energy that sometimes happens in the winter. So water is honestly a big one. And then I'm a huge advocate for eating what's in season. I really do believe that this was created for us to eat and optimize for each season for a reason, right? Our tomatoes are in season in the fall for a reason. Our root vegetables are in season for a reason. So right now, too, for me, a big one is just oranges.
Okay.
Oranges, water, dark greens, kale and arugula and whatever. So honestly, just whole, real foods and what is in season. It's as simple as that. I don't think we need.
No,
I
I
don't
hear
think
that
we
a
need to
lot. It
complicate
makes
it.
so much sense.
Yeah, I really don't think we need to complicate it. The tomato is is it L? I'm gonna feel silly right now, but it's one of those. It actually helps absorb and hold vitamin D. Why do we need extra amps up of vitamin D towards the end of fall? Winter's coming. So like it's created like that for a reason. And I think we just need to kind of keep it simple and eat what's in season.
You talk a lot about, like I said, physical training, nutrition, mental wellness, and mindset. Explain how all those pieces fit together, especially in your men's resilience health program for someone who's used to maybe just focusing on one or two of those things. Like they hit the gym and they try to eat well, but maybe they're not integrating that mental component or mindset component.
It's all integrated to me. Like it's all like since a child, I see it as one big picture.
Mhm.
I actually can't. Whereas some trainers out there just focus on the physical and that's it. That's not what I see.
Mm.
So it's such a great question, Roy, but it's actually very challenging for me to answer because my brain works so differently when it comes to this.
I get it.
If we are emotionally not healthy or mentally not healthy, our cortisol levels are up, right?
Yeah.
Cortisol levels are up, our hormones are affected, everything's down. We're not going to have the right recovery. We're not going to have the right gains. We're actually sometimes doing our body damage instead of healing some of that other stuff. We're making sure that it's all being taken care of together. I'm very energy sensitive. So if somebody comes in, they may look like everything's okay, but I can feel something's off. We're going to address that first usually. I'm going to make sure. So if I have, one of my high performing guys, like he's running a multi-million-dollar company. He comes in for his lunch and he's like yanking on the door and he comes in all hot and he's just, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes he comes in and I can tell that it's not just the extra energy that we're working with. We're working with something that's really heavy.
Right.
Okay. Now he's setting himself up for injury because he's going into those lifts tight. His whole muscular system and central nervous system is activated. He's in fight or flight response. I need to bring that down, that cortisol level down, his central nervous system down for his body to even be able to respond to the lifts the right way. Otherwise, he's going to injure himself.
Yeah.
Right. So I need to bring him down. I need to ground him. I need to help him be grounded and present before we go into a crazy whatever.
So you work with a number of high performing clients,
Mhm.
and a number of the listeners to this podcast are first responders who can work unpredictable shifts or have um, long periods of maybe boredom interrupted by periods of extreme chaos that come on suddenly. What are some kind of portable or quick hit resilience tools that first responders can use for long nights, rough calls, extended shifts to help ground them, like you were talking about with that client?
Yeah. This is one I can actually speak into personally. So I used to work at the sheriff's department and I would be up 72 hours straight because I was a single mom. So 12-hour shifts followed by a baby. Right? So you work night shift and then you stay up, you take care of your child, and I go again. And I would do that for 72 hours straight. What that did to my system was not okay at all. It was awful, but I did learn a lot from that too. Because I don't think without that would I have actually been able to answer even this question from a place that I can answer it. I do know the long periods of boredom, are they allowed to go and actually rest? Are they taking advantage of those moments or are they taking care of other things
Mm.
that are on their plate, right? So rest first and then take care of some of X, Y, and Z that needs to be tended to. Check with themselves and ask, should I just go take a nap right now or really push through? Because a lot of
Rather,
men who are high performing, they're just going to push through.
right, rather than trying to fill every moment with work.
Exactly. High performance. I got to do because that's where my self-worth, that's where my identity comes from. When they really need to actually just rest for a little bit first, and then they can go perform. There was some different grounding techniques that had used. This is coming from a place where there was unable to get the rest. I couldn't just go and like do a stretching thing,
Right.
but I could go in the bathroom and do it. So that's what, honestly, that's what I would do, is take those moments to go and do some and deep breathing techniques.
Okay.
That's a huge one for me, is honestly just taking a few minutes. And if you're feeling a little, maybe you're struggling coming down from the fight or flight response, you just got off of a call. People need to have some grounding techniques in their pocket that work for them. So for me, it's the breathing techniques are huge for me, grounding, right? For me, there's studies shown that even like a really cold drink of water and doing the shakes actually help calm your central nervous system and help you ground.
Oh,
So people just need to find things that work for them. So if I'm working with somebody, I give them like 3 of them to practice, and I'll do them right with them. So I'll teach them how to do breathing techniques. I'll do it with them so that they actually firsthand experience it. And then we'll do a couple, like every time I meet with them, I do a different one. And now they have like 5 of them in their tool chest to pull from that works with them. And I do make sure that they understand that over the years, those are allowed to change. Don't get stuck doing just one, right? Like get a few of them in your pocket. So to me, it was the deep breathing, some movement. I would go in the bathroom and do 10 body weight squats and do some chest openers, close my eyes. I might even sit, I say yoga style, Indian style, like sit.
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Crisscross applesauce is what the kids say now.
Yeah, that's it right there. So there's a few things, the beverage thing. So I get stomach anxious.
Okay.
Right. That was something that from my childhood, so I have to watch my stomach. So a cup of hot ginger tea was something else that worked for me. That's just small, but works.
You mentioned just a little bit ago about men who see their identity in the work that they do.
Performance.
So they focus so much on that and don't focus on rest and recovery.
Yeah.
And on your website and in your social media, you talk about walking in your purpose while helping others step into theirs. How does that mission fuel how you coach a client who sees their self-worth in the amount of work that they can do?
That's a beautiful thing to go through with somebody, because the people that are like, some of that is trauma based. That's the other side of what I do. So it's just the high performance and a lot of people who have experienced high levels of trauma.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes those two are intermingled, and I got to kind of find the root of it. If their high performance is coming from a place of like the identity, lack of self-worth, then that's the angle that I have to go, versus somebody who it's not necessarily tied to their self-worth, but they do find identity in it. They find purpose in it. So there's a difference in teaching, and some of the wives that I work with, because I'll work with couples a lot, is teaching her that men like to feel useful. Like, no, I don't need that. And then he feels rejected. No, they actually like to feel useful versus, so like, there's a lot of dynamics here that I go into it with them when it comes to this stuff. So I will take a step back. Having your purpose solely rely on your performance is usually trauma-based or a past belief system.
Okay.
Some of it is society as a whole too, like kind of lacking in that department with our men. But as far as working through that with them, usually, honestly, if it's just brought to awareness, that right there is one of the biggest things. And teaching them then how to, I don't want to say see themselves as more, but yeah, see that their men are needed so much more than than performance. And I think we're lacking, society as a whole is lacking at that.
Yeah. And now I hear we circle back to that self-awareness part of the puzzle, being aware of our own patterns and being aware of our own triggers being aware of our own maybe hidden belief systems that we hadn't considered before.
Oh, for sure. That's the biggest one too, is those hidden ones. Like somebody I was working with this morning, he goes, "Well, I responded by saying this." And him and I very I can be men are beautiful. I can be very blunt with them. I was like, "Well, that was a very defensive way to respond. That is definitely coming from like a wounded side of you." And he goes, "Yeah, it didn't feel so good." Like the outcome was not I didn't get the outcome that I thought I would get. And I was like, "Well, yeah, because you responded from a place of your own wounded self, not a healed man." But he's being self-aware. He's like, "Oh my gosh, it is and how I'm responding. That's why I'm not getting the response that doesn't line up with what I'm saying." They're both not hearing each other. It's great. It's turning out amazing for them. But yeah, the self-awareness it's very healing.
Your whole health coaching program.
Mm.
Say I've got some listeners who that's landing for them and they are interested in connecting with you about that. What would that first step look like with you?
Mm. The first step is honestly, I just call it like you can call it a consult, but honestly, it's just a coffee chat. I do not take clients that I don't feel I'll be able to help. If anything, I will find them somebody that will fit with them. But we just have a consult. We just hang out and chat and kind of find out some of the things that they are hoping for. I might ask them if they've worked with people before in the past, if they had a good experience or a bad experience. It just kind of depends on the person. I can kind of feel off of a person, and usually if they're reaching out, they're ready for something. They know something needs to happen. Sometimes they don't know fully, but I'll ask, just tell me about your every day-to-day life a little bit. And it's all in big letters all over the place for me, right?
So if a listener wanted to find you online or learn more about what you do, or maybe even start a conversation about their own goals or building resilience or whole health, how can they do that?
Yeah, they can just reach out to me via email, my website, Instagram, Facebook, and just,
Okay.
yeah, I do have booking links all over the place, actually. I think they're right on, yeah, they're even right on my website. They can book a consult right there. And the initial consult is free of charge.
Oh, great. I'll
So,
make
and
sure all that info is included in the show notes for the podcast.
yeah, sometimes I'll just do, if someone's like, "Hey, I just want to know like a brief overview," I'll do a 15-minute phone conversation, but I'll give them the option. Like you can do a 15-minute phone conversation if you just want a briefing, but if you're a little bit more interested, you've done a little bit of research, we can just go straight to the 1 hour consult where we're just going to hang out and chat and see if it's a good fit.
You recently started your own podcast. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I didn't really want to. I'm just kidding. For years, people were asking me to, and I had to really look in the mirror because every time somebody would say that, I would actually cringe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I did not have the faith in myself. Other people, what's that, imposter syndrome type thing, like,
Oh, I 100% relate to
right?
that.
Oh, I'm not worthy of that. There's somebody more educated, more whatever, equipped to do that. But when you're being asked like once a week for years, you have to face it at some point. And I was like, okay, all right, what is this? What do I need healing in? That keeps cringing every time I hear that when I am a podcast junkie. Like I love podcasts.
Mhm.
So I need to get out of my own way because I know that I was the one stopping myself from it. And there'd be so many calls that I'd be on and be like, man, I wish that call would really speak to so many people. I could help so many more people. I could help so many more people if this was out there. And I'm just trying to learn to get out of my own way when it comes to that. So and I tell my daughter all the time, I'm like, you gotta fail forward. There's no other way.
Exactly. Exactly. Failure isn't the end. It's the beginning Up
of
the next
whatever
day.
yep, of whatever door is meant to be open. The
Right.
only way to get there is to I told her, like, and I'll use this analogy with clients, like, you're a ping pong ball bouncing off of all the walls until it steadies itself out. You just can't be afraid of it. So I had to take my own medicine and just, like, do the thing. And I used performance and overworking and all of that to stop all of that stuff. So that's another big thing I use with my clients. People that do like that one question that you asked, I forgot even what it was. I have to clear the path for them in order to do that. If I'm working 90-hour weeks, I can easily say I'm too busy to do a podcast.
Oh,
I don't have the energy or the mental dashboard to do a podcast. And I didn't. I made sure of it, right? So performance saved me from facing a lot of things. And that was one of the things. So when I decided that I was going to stop trying to outperform myself, 60-hour weeks turned into 80-hour weeks, turned into 100-hour weeks. And I'm just loving life because I'm not dealing with anything, right? So I had to clear the path. I had to step back from trying to outperform myself.
it absolutely 100% makes sense. And I think myself and a lot of other first responders can relate to what you just said about constantly trying to fill those gaps so you don't have to deal with the things.
Yeah. So one of the things that we didn't fully touch on is that part right there, like the transformation part that happens there when you teach somebody how to clear the path and train somebody or teach them, give them the tools to be self-aware, to do all of those things. You take one person that's being the outperformer and they're living off of fight or flight. They don't even know how to live from a grounded space.
Mhm.
We're changing their whole DNA. Their entire wiring system has to change. So when you ask the question too, like, what does it mean when you're working with somebody physically, nutrition, and mentally and emotionally? I'm changing their entire DNA. Their
Mm.
brain pathways cannot equate to coming from a place that's grounded. If you take a high performing person or a person that's living in fight or flight, so another thing, those first responders and firefighters, the majority of them that have some sort of past trauma is huge. Why? Because they know how to live in it. Their
Yeah.
body has already equipped themselves. So they not only know how to work in it, they actually crave it. They look for it. That's their endorphin high. That's how they know that I'm doing okay. So I get a gold star because I just outdid myself or I outworked, right? They only know how to come from that. So to teach somebody a whole nother way of living, well, no, now you have to come from a place of peace. I would tell that person to F off. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm doing just fine. Their pathways aren't even there. So I look at it as when I say changing somebody's DNA, you're actually changing their cellular level, healing their cellular level to be able to come from a place of being grounded. And until all of that stuff is healed internally, they're still going to be running circles around themselves.
Mm.
Does that make sense? So I can
Yeah.
heal myself in a lot of areas, right? I can heal from my past, but my body is still ready to go in fight or flight all the time. It's looking for it. It's like, okay. And I still do it, right? Like I'm still watching my back, like waiting for the bad guy. Like, oh yeah, what am I doing? It's ridiculous. So
That constant hyper awareness. Yeah.
yeah, I actually have to really work hard, sometimes daily. It just depends on where I'm at in my own season of telling myself I'm rewiring my entire body. I'm rewiring my central nervous system, my cells, everything. So it's amazing. So when I look at somebody, this is what I do.
Mm.
Like, where are we going to strategically start for this person to help them feel feel better, live life optimally, be able to be present for the people that they love, be able to be present for themselves, enjoy life, get out of fight or flight, and still be able to perform doing something that they love to do.
And it's an ongoing process.
Yes, it is. I think that, yeah, it is. It's beautiful.
Jessica, thank you so much for your
Yeah.
time today.
Yeah.
I have really enjoyed this conversation. Boy, you've made me reconsider a few things.
Well, it's been great. You asked really great questions, some that were actually like they're challenging to me still. So it's great. It was really awesome. Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I look forward to watching as your podcast develops more.
Me too. I am so excited for that. I'm out of like the complete, sometimes I'm still scared, but I'm very excited for it. But yeah, anybody can look me up on any of my platforms. I can send you little links later. And yeah,
That would be terrific. Thank you.
thanks, Roy.
That was Jessica Nowak, founder of Inferno Fitness and Resilience, trauma survivor, and coach who's turned her own story into a guidebook for building strength that lasts. Working 12-hour night shifts for a sheriff's department while raising a child meant she sometimes stayed awake for 70-plus hours straight. So when she talks about endurance and fatigue and the cost of keeping it all together, she's speaking from experience. Her message hit home for me because I recognize a lot of myself and probably a lot of my brothers and sisters in public safety in what she said about high performers. We're wired to fix things, to run toward the problem, and to keep every plate spinning. I've lost count of the number of times I felt guilty for taking downtime, or for missing a call and thinking I should have been there to help. It's a noble instinct, but it's also the one that burns us out the fastest. Jessica reminded us that resilience doesn't come from doing more. It starts with self-awareness, checking in instead of checking out. It grows through movement and grounding, through hydration and simple whole foods, and by giving ourselves permission to rest, recalibrate, and reconnect. Those small things aren't indulgences, they're maintenance. The same kind of maintenance we do for our gear, our rigs, our stations. So here's my challenge to you, and if I'm being honest, to myself. This season, let's stop seeing rest as retreat. Let's treat it as readiness. If today's conversation resonates with you, you'll find more strategies and reflections in my companion article, Surviving the Winter Blues. Together, the podcast and the article create a framework for staying grounded and healthy through whatever winter brings. You can find Jessica's programs and her new podcast at Inferno Fitness and Resilience, and I'll include links in the show notes. If you're listening from the bay, from the rig, or from your kitchen table after a long shift, know this. Every time you pause to take care of yourself, you're protecting the people who depend on you. So until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Keep looking for the light. And as always, fight wisely, age bravely,